It is absolutely certain we have to face our reality as a world, as humanity on Earth, the finite truth of this planet and what it can and cannot give it to us. We have doubled our population in over 50 years, and there's just no possibility that can continue. 100 million babies need not to be born. That is what that really actually means. And in order to do that, to have any chance to do that, we really actually have, or the women actually have to have IUDs of some sort, because there are, long-term, reversible, and as far as I know, tolerable. You have to examine that for the evidence and prove what is or is not true. And it goes back for 100 years, so don't be afraid to look at what the people who did have them have to say. Also, we have to have world law. We cannot have leaders, we cannot have big armies to make these decisions for us. We have to have world law. And we have to enforce that law, because unless you enforce the law, it has no meaning. And that's true of nations, and that's true of the world. If we enforce the law, then we can remove the weapons of mass destruction. And we can remove major armies, and we can change the boundaries of nations so that each group has its own little share of this is yours, and it's not going to be taken away. International policing will stop that. And of course, that means that in actual fact, we have to, if we have world law and international policing, we're going to have to force leaders to give up their weapons. And that means they're going to revolt. And therefore we have to, enforce that the army knows what we intend to do as a world, as we the world, not, just we the people. We the world have chosen for ourselves that leaders shall not rule us anymore. That's just the reality of our lives. If we don't do that, they will kill us. They will exterminate our world. They will release weapons of mass destruction and so on, just like universities will. Because they have been collecting the worst and the worst of the worst of the worst of all biological diseases and all the worst poisons and everything else that they could possibly think of. Because they want to have power over us too. They want to have robots that are going to take control over our lives, robot armies that they can control for themselves, and all kinds of things that are not in our best interest as a world or as a people or as anything. Because, they're just the army of the dead. And if we don't stop them, they will be terrifying to you. Because, robots are just machines, and machines don't care. But machines can be very effective. So we have to understand that, if an aquifer dries up, it collapses and then it can't be used anymore. We have to understand that, the decisions that we make are going to create the world that we live in. We have to understand that, people need resources, and without resources there is no life. We have to understand that, that if we turn the world into a desert, that all we have is a desert. We need more. If we do not stop, destroying forests, we will have no world to live in, because the atmosphere is tied to the earth by that forest. And there's very little left of it to actually tie the atmosphere to this earth. And if we don't do that, it'll accelerate to way beyond what we can tolerate, way beyond what anything can survive. If you don't stop using fossil fuels as much as you do, we will not have oxygen to breathe. That's just how it is. The idiots and failures point and say, there's plenty of oxygen here. Well, we use an enormous amount for fossil fuels. An enormous amount. Every gallon of gas takes about the same amount of air that 30 people need for an entire day. Add that up. Add that up. We cannot, continue as we are. Limited capitalism is needed. That means that, yes, you can have more, but there's a limit to what you can have more of. There's a limit. The rest of us need something too. No more billionaires, no more millionaires, or whatever you want to set the limit at is wherever you want to set the limit at. But if you don't set the limit as world, basically, people will go and claim they live here, even if they don't, and claim that that those taxes will be paid instead of ours, and so on and so on. We have to stop the tragedy of in this nation of irrelevant spending. The university gets it all. The university gets whatever it wants. You cannot question the university. The university is God. All of those things have to disappear. They have to be forever laid to rest, because we cannot have them destroy our nature. We can't have them mutilate genetic information, which is nature. We cannot let them try to recreate the sun here on this earth. It will get out of control and will incinerate us all. Even the immediate fire, even if it was suddenly on and suddenly off, the radiation would kill everybody around it. You can't do it. It is not an answer. You have to do what truth will allow for you to do. We have to have limited capitalism, because that gives us an opportunity to share the wealth. And if we don't share the wealth, we'll share the war. And that will be the end of us. Because there are so many, it will be the end of us. Take a look at every place that is at war right now. Everything that we need, everything they needed, is gone. And in World War II and in World War I, they rebuilt. But the end result of that is we don't have anything left to rebuild with. And there are so many of us that we can't possibly use everything that's left, because there will be nothing left. The children need something, and they need to stand up for themselves at this point in time and say, no more of this. We have to be, what we have to be for ourselves. No more lying and cheating and stealing and, the terrorism, the betrayal, the everything, as university leads to. University is a blanket statement. All people associated with the university are not bad. What we have to do is search for those who are. Just like all we have to do is search in government for those who are bad, and in policing for those who are bad, and in society for those who are bad, or more correctly, we have to search for those who hate us. Because there are only three choices to life. Either you love, which means that you value life and respect it, or you become an animal, which means all you live for is want. That's all there is. There's just want, and I want more, and that's all there is. Or there's hate, which means you want to destroy life and have power over life and think of life as a game. It is not a game. It is our experience here in time. And time gives you the opportunity to decide if you want to live or not. Because if you don't love, you don't want to live. You don't want to. And eternity demands that you have to live if you want to be eternal. If you want to be happy, if you want to be this or that or the other thing, you can believe whatever you want to about eternity. But the evidence is that this world is built upon miracles. It is created as a miracle. We did not create ourselves. There is no such thing as chaos or accidents that created life. No such thing at all. If you had your whole body but no mouth to eat with, or no hands to work with, or no eyes to see with, how are you going to survive? You have to have it all. You cannot build one life at a time. You can't build a body at one piece at a time. You can't do it. It will not survive. You will fail. And you can't build anything without thought. And of course, your universities say that thought is the last thing that comes. Well, it's not. It's the first thing that comes. And that list is endless. Atoms, of course, I don't know. Well, atoms are actually, based upon the mass that is enclosed by a neutron. These are two different forces involved. And that's what men and women are, two different forces involved. Women are different, more different than you think. And men are like kinetic energy. They push out, and women are like the dark energy or negative energy, which pulls it back. And together we can balance each other. And we must be balanced in order to create a world that will survive. Therefore, we have to work with each other. We have to respect each other. We have to, not do what the universities demand that you do. Not be what the universities and media demand that you be. Stop being, stop thinking that women should be men and men should be women, and all of the mess that university tragedy is. They want money. You cannot, doctors aren't perfect. Nobody's perfect. That's just facts. Nobody's perfect. And doctors, need money. They're terribly badly in debt. They should not be, but they are when they get out of school, 98% of them at least. And so they make decisions based upon what money they need. Even if you don't believe that, they do. Because, that's how you are too. You make decisions, and, mechanics make decisions based upon the money they need, and people make decisions based upon the money they need to survive. It's me or you, it's us or them. And the consequence of that is that the world dies a little bit every time somebody steals. The world dies a little bit every time somebody lies. Our ability to survive fails when somebody betrays us. And of course, terrorism just means that they hate us enough to have no hope, but they want us to die because they have no hope. So we have to give them some hope. We have to accept the fact that we can't just throw everybody else away. The life is more than just you. And if you were just by yourself on an island, you would know that, because there would be nobody there. And of course, that means that you would be all alone. And that is the price of, eternity. If we don't live with those who love us, we're not going to live at all. But that's a whole different issue. But the end result is we have to make different decisions. And we have to do different things with the money. That, we have to put this world back together again, rebuild what we can, and save what we can, and keep what we can, and all of that. Respect everything that we possibly can, because without that, there is no relationship for us to share. And if we don't share, we're going to die. Extermination, extinction, that is what's on the menu. It's very hard to turn people back when they start a war. Because, you killed me, I killed you, or you killed my brother, I killed them, and, I want revenge and all that. And of course, the end result of it is that you pulled me into this, and they pulled us into that, and everybody ends up with very hard to stop a war. Very hard to stop people who are trying to destroy you by enforcing what they want. We have to do everything by law. By laws that we create, not that those people create for us. We have to make our own law. We have to limit that law to just to one page so that we all understand it. We have to limit that law to 100 laws or so that we all know what the law is, so that we can enforce it. We cannot enforce a law that we do not understand. And the universities, of course, have made the law into a maze, just like they made the tax forms into a maze, just like they make everything into a maze, so that we don't understand, so that they can rule over us with our confusion. So we need to redo everything they have done and make it so that we do understand. Because that is our right to do. It was not their right to try to confuse and manipulate or tempt us. It wasn't their right to take away our future with, by creating money that doesn't exist. It's not their right to create debt and say let the children pay. It's not their right to rule over our world with weapons of mass destruction so that they could have power. It's not their right to gamble with our world or lives or nature or anything. They are just former classmates Just like the government is former classmates, just like doctors and so on are former classmates. They're just all the same as me and you, and they are not really any different. They might be a little smarter or a little harder worker or whatever it is, and some of us deserve more than others of us because we work harder. We apply ourselves and do what we have to do to make it better. But the end result is that if we don't work together, if we don't accept the fact that we are so many people today that we cannot avoid the reality of everything that you do matters to me, because even if we all threw one penny into an aircraft carrier, we'd sink the aircraft carrier with all those pennies. I mean, the end result is we are so many people, and we have to stop being so many people.